So welcome to Things Invest, talk about investing, finance, and fresh development. For today's terms only, the investment topic today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, just want to say happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend, by the way. With respect to Ethereum, so recording us of 9:23 a.m. on the Eastern time. Currently trade $3,273, up about 0.33% so far. And with respect to the recent activity in the crypto market and also on the equity market, there's been a lot of volatility. On the macro front, with respect to recent news that we have heard so far on the Taliban taking over Afghanistan media affectation, right? So whenever we hear anything specific around, war or tension between countries, famine or pandemic, if you may, or breakout of a disease, it obviously drives some fear among investors, especially on the equity side, right? And on yesterday, Asian market on the equity portion definitely drove some sell-off, right, because of the news that got picked up. That's not going to drive some anti-correlation effects onto the crypto market, knowing the fact that gold or commodities or cryptocurrency, which is characterized as some sort of like a safe haven type of asset, subsequently drive some buying pressure across the market on the crypto side, right? Which subsequently drive us to go up to hit somewhere around like the $3,313, trying to get to the next level again, right? The 3,385. But it seems like, with respect to the momentum, it never got there, right? And also another news that got picked up yesterday, and I would say maybe 4 hours ago, depending on, what news channels are you watching or reading, is with Walmart, right? So one of the largest commerce company in the U.S. is hiring a director focusing on digital currency. As you see the global adoptions, and especially in the North American region, it's becoming more popularized, right? So they are looking to hire someone that's in a leadership position to shape the cryptocurrency strategy on the commerce side, on how they could integrate that. So comparable to like the product manager or the product lead, if you may, that Amazon is looking to hire as well. So another stamp of approval, obviously from another giant on the commerce side of the industry in the US. So another one that is coming out about like 5 hours ago is with respect to Microsoft wants to use Ethereum blockchain to fight piracy. So another stamp of approval from another tech giants, if you may, another great gravitas onto the buying pressure of obviously Ethereum, and obviously with some drag effects onto the other side of the world of other cryptocurrencies at the same time. Another news would be something talking about the NFT collectibles with respect to trading volume and activity. It seems like it's cooling down after the frenzy that we've been experiencing so far, right? The frenzy that we've incurred for basically about like the last 16 to 17 days now. I would say 17 to 18 days now if you count yesterday as well. So it's definitely, an interesting affectation that we're experiencing across the market. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis to see with respect to the sell-off that we're seeing on the equity side of the portions because of the macro news, right? The Taliban takeover of Afghanistan pick up on the media front, subsequently drive some sell-off on the equity side, anti-correlates onto the crypto side. So I'm going to take a look at the momentum. Are we going to see more of a sell-off coming, knowing the fact that cross-section for the death cross, it seems like it's slowly fusing together. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. So moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticker ETH, I'm recording of 9:38 a.m. on Eastern time. Currently like $3,241, down about 0.64% so far. So you can see that with respect to the overall equity market on SPY, we're down, 0.44% so far. Nasdaq down as well. Respect some of the small cap and high growth stocks like Neo down about 5.5% so far, so I'm bleeding like crazy today. But we are testing the next resistance level right now. On Tesla, we are down about 2% respectively as well. So going back to Ethereum, you can see that just to take a snapshot of the historicals, right? Ever since the 19th and the 20th, because of the B Word Summit, we've been surging up for quite some times now, right? Over like 2 weeks, almost close to 3 weeks in the total right now, right? And you could see that with respect to MACD, we're overbought on all levels. On the RSI, we are highly overbought at the same time. We are in between the lines of the equator that we see here, right? So With respect to the news that we got picked up, it's kind of a mixed bag, right? Obviously, the Taliban news is definitely a negative one, but it definitely will drive some negative pressure onto, the equity side, but it will have some anti-correlating effects, right? So it subsequently propel up, from there, which the reason why we saw some surge yesterday on top of the positive news coming from, obviously, as we mentioned, Microsoft and Walmart, right, on their global and corporate adoption with respect to Ethereum and crypto assets going forward, right? So, with respect to technicals, despite the positive news so far, we are still struggling, right? We have been trying multiple times to break above the 3,385, which is the next level of substantiveness in this green line here, right? We could see that we almost got there, but just enough, but not enough to get above another $50 to get above the level that we want to form as a new platform. That whenever you go up to that level, you have to kind of come back down to the next normalization, right? So the next normalization zone is somewhere around like the 3,250, which is, again, as we know, is not a substantive one compared to like 3,150, which is a level below, right? On top of the fact, you have to understand that we are overbought and we are slowly forming a death cross. So I think the sell-off is imminent, and something we have to experience. And I think one of the affectation that could potentially pop the balloon would be the Jackson Hole speech coming from Jerome Powell in the later part of August. I believe it's going to debut on 26 and 27, if I'm not mistaken. Or they might have shifted the timing on the Jackson Hole speech. So we have to understand that, and also maybe the COVID variant, which is still percolating, and I think the cases are rising. So that's something we have to be mindful of. So I think there are a lot of sector and macro headwind that's ahead of us. That's obviously percolating, and can subsequently drive the sell-off on Ethereum, and obviously, but not just for Ethereum, but for the overall market as a whole. So something to be mindful of, and I think $2 cost average would be the level respectively below, right? The 3,000 would be the first level if you want to incur some risk exposure. But as you break through the 3,000, the next level is going to be $300 of a drop, right? To 2,750. But I ideally see that we'll actually come back down further to the 2,450 because we need to go through that cycle, right? And we need to go through that oscillation to incentivize the large institution to buy back again, right? It's the reason why we're static right now, because they're just holding and probably waiting for another catalyst to pump up. And then you see people FOMOing in, and when they get that type of a euphoric type of exogenous factor that drives into the buying pressure, they will be more incentivized to crash the market, right? To sell off from there, right? So that's something to be mindful of. Risk is definitely increasing right now, but if you want to buy now, incur at your own risk. But know that there's a likelihood that we'll be selling off. So just hold for a long term if that happens, if you want to buy now. Right, just to recap some numbers, technical analysis with respect to the current level, we are struggling, right? And I think we have a likelihood of actually coming back down to more of a comfort zone, 3,150. And if we break that, we will go back to obviously 3,000 to test it again. But that level is a flat number, not really a substantive one. That we will likely go back down to the 2,750, which is a level that will start to buy. In 2,450, this is where I would start to be more aggressive on buying a little bit more. But long term wise, if you're buying now, you want to incur some risk. That's totally okay. Because subsequently you could generate 3.3 times your money at 9,800 in 12 months price target from here. Further respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticket ETH. Hopefully this is helpful. It's been definitely a volatile couple of days so far, and I do see a little bit more volatility coming. So definitely, try to stay sane, try to stay logical, and do not buy based on FOMO or emotions. Try to encapsulate, with the logics and news that we see, and decipher with your level of execution that you feel the most risk averse and most comfortable. I'm going to be around, so feel free to give me a shout if you have any questions, and stay tuned for this to come up. Take care. Bye.